Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything movies, TV, comics, and entertainment. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go. Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What's happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. You know my co-host. He's the one and only Padawan J.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, see, we are super amped up to talk to you this week. A lot has been going on, and maybe it's the San Diego Comic-Con is really kind of pushing me a little bit.
Folks, I'm sorry I crashed everyone's Microsoft computers. I tried putting out my mixtape, but it turns out it was too fire.
It could have been something like that, too. I mean, there's a lot of things going on here at the ODPH camp. If you want to find out more about it, Pad, where do you go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
Right on. Swing on over to the website. Check out all the social media links. Everything's up and running. Check out the T Public Store link where there's always something going on. Hats for the summer.
Hey.
What can we say? You need to get one in your life, or two or three. We also have a Patreon link. Shout out to our amazing patrons. They got a bonus episode this week. They got the breakdown of UFC 304,
hey,
plus a little more sports commentary. So one tier, $2 a month, and we make that happen for you. The blog section, the classifieds, which has friends of the show, such as 3FM Podcast, Dragon Master Games, Nerd Initiative, voter registration, because everybody should be doing that in the States. Just saying. The directory, Pat, how many providers are we on?
906,310.
I do not question it, folks. He is the statistician to stars for a reason.
Source, trust me, bro.
Exactly. How can you go wrong? Also, check out the music section. A lot of our great friends who are providing the music that you hear on the 607 Podcast Network are doing big things this summer. Brian Wolf and the Howlers are on tour. Shout out the Robots is playing again out there, making some rounds. Tom Jolu's on tour.
Yeah, he is.
That's a fantastic. Second Suitor, Floodlands. Floodlands is announcing a couple gigs. They're going to be traveling.
Saw that.
Yeah, so it's always good to see those guys doing great things. So we always like to promote them because they help us, and it's all win-win situation. And if it's everything else that is the ODPH, you can find it at odphpodcast.com. And remember, on social media, if you're using hashtags, well, why not use the hashtag ODPHpod? Kicking off the entertainment edition of the show, we have to recap a season finale that got a lot of people talking.
Yes, it did.
And rightfully so, because it has been building for 4 seasons now. The eventual moment that things were going to go bad for a certain group of individuals trying to stop the superpowered beings of their world from taking over and full dominating control. Pad, what show are we talking about?
The Boys.
That's right. The Amazon Prime Video show has now concluded its 4th season and gave fans a lot to talk about because the war between Butcher, played by Carl Urban, and Homelander, played by Anthony Starr, has now gone to DEFCON 5, can we say?
Yeah, like whatever the highest DEFCON is, we're there.
Yeah, and there's a lot to process with this. So that being said, we are going to be breaking down the season 4 finale.
Mm-hmm.
If you're new to the show, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out. Drop a review on your favorite podcatcher. It definitely helps the algorithm. What we like to do is give you a spoiler-free statement of what we're going to be reviewing. So that way, if you haven't seen the show for whatever reason, we're not going to ruin anything for you. However, we give you a countdown. After said countdown, any topic is off limits. We go deep diving. We give speculation. We give reviews from the comic to pair up with it, so nothing is held back. You have been fair warned. So that being said, Pad, give me your spoiler-free statement on the season 4 finale.
It was good. I enjoyed it. It definitely lived up to my expectations of just being absolutely batshit insane, and definitely one that left me wanting more. Definitely a little bit of a cliffhanger ending, not necessarily the biggest cliffhanger ending in television history, but one that made me sit there and go, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. But it wasn't the best finale ever. I think they've done better, and I think the season overall, it's not the strongest season they've ever done, but it was still very good and very enjoyable. But for the episode itself, I enjoyed it.
This lived up to expectation. I thought this was one of the best shows they've done in all 4 years. I really think they nailed the landing for where they need to go for season 5.
Okay.
Knowing where they are in the comics and how things are going, yeah, the pop culture audience might not be ready for what's coming.
Right.
but they've done a great job about taking themes from the book and bringing it to life, because everybody needs to go check out the Garth Ennis, Derek Robertson run. If you have not read this comic, you need to, and then you can really see the comparisons here.
Right.
Because as much as we like to talk about The Walking Dead and the Glenn episode where everything changed,
yeah,
some might argue that this is that episode. And I think that if you've read the comic, you know what to expect. I think if you're somebody that has watched just the show and not the comics, you do get the idea of how things are getting very dire. But much like any great superhero tale, it has to get very bad before it can get very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they set up things very nicely, and I am super excited to see what they're doing. And things are going to escalate at a very fast pace from here.
Yeah, they are.
So there's much to enjoy with this finale. Great acting all around, and if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go check it out. But that said, Pad, 3, 2, 1. Let's really talk about it.
Like I said, episode was good. Definitely lived up to my expectations. You know that it's setting up for the final season. There's not really much else you can really introduce to, like, oh hey, we're going to tease this for next season and really introduce some crazy stuff next season. Like, no, next season's it. Next season's the last. They're done after that. You know, there's not going to be some grandiose movie coming out that's going to tie everything together. There's not going to be some spin-off show where, like, we see the characters, at least not that we know of right now, that we might see some of the surviving characters do. Like, no, this is it. This is the final act. You know, to borrow from Europe, it's the final countdown. Be careful. We might owe them like $250,000. But no, the episode definitely was good. I definitely enjoyed it, and it's got me wanting more, and it sucks that we're going to have to wait, according to Carl Urban, 2 years until we see the final season.
Yeah, I think it's smart to make everybody wait a little bit. We've seen with other shows like House of the Dragon and The Last of Us, which is coming back, fans are going to tune in and tune out if it's good. Or tune up, I should say.
Yeah.
In this situation, I think it's the right play to make. Yeah. And I think to really give a true idea of how dire things have become for the boys is really going to help the story connect with the audience.
Right. Well, and plus, I think, too, we're waiting 2 years, but I'm willing to bet we'll get season 2 of Gen V in the in-between time.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, and the Carl Urban thing is true. If you do go to his Instagram, which is Carl Urban, all one word, it says, quote, "Working with the illustrious Jeffrey Dean Morgan was the best part of my day, every day. That's all the boys for now, folks. See you in 2 years. Wish it was sooner for the final season on Prime Video."
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's a tough wait. Well, I mean, they're very passionate about the material, and I think they really want to complete the story.
Yeah.
And I think that there might be a little fear of fans falling off.
Could be.
But let's face it, when the show comes out, the audience is built in.
Yep.
And the acting of Urban and Starr really elevates this to a must-watch show, along with the rest of the cast. So I think it doesn't matter when they come back, if they're going to take the year off and let Gen V go, and if they're going to do some kind of spin-off in some variation, that would work too.
Right.
I think they kind of give that little gap. I don't think hurts as bad as some people might think.
No.
Because like we say, House of the Dragon set the blueprint for it.
Yeah.
So if they want to wait on this, I think it's a smart play. And obviously, after all the wildness that happens in this episode, a break is not the worst thing.
A breather is a good thing.
Because where this episode kicks in, Butcher is recovering from passing out in the bar. And obviously, everything that's been going on with the election has really taken its toll on him. Plus, he's ticking against Father Time.
Yep.
He has a literal death sentence because of the tumor that's growing in his head. Things are not looking good for him. So when he wakes up in the hospital, he's confronted by Mallory and Ryan. And obviously, the son of Homelander is a very unique character because whatever side he goes on, both are feeling that could be the swaying factor in their battle. So when Mallory and Ryan go see him in the hospital, and Ryan is told of the truth about Homelander, Butcher just reveals more or less everything along with Mallory.
Well, Mallory spills the beans on him. Mallory spilled, like, Butcher wants to play nice, and he's a kid, and we don't really necessarily need to tell him everything right now. And Mallory is, like, given what she knows and what's going on, is playing we can't wait for the right opportunity. Like, we have to go now. He has to know now. So once Mallory starts spilling the beans, Butcher's like, well, okay, since you've told him, I guess we got to tell him everything now.
Yeah, and I think that that's a smart play too. I mean, Mallory has always been such a great confidant to
Yeah.
Butcher,
Yeah.
and letting him, I want to say kind of run wild. And in this situation, yeah, they have to make the call here. I mean, Layla Robbins, who plays Grace Mallory, really has helped Butcher so much along that to elevate this moment, because when Ryan lashes out,
right?
Because remember, he's a kid; he can't process all this.
He's a kid. He's getting a lot thrown at him, and on top of the fact, the whole reason and purpose and where he is, he's been lied to.
Mm-hmm.
He figures out that he's in like a CIA, FBI, whatever it is, holding facility. That's meant for soups. And that, but it's still a hospital, and they told him that he was just a regular hospital, and he wants to just leave to process everything. He's like, I need some air. I need like 10 minutes just to figure this all out in my head. And Mallory goes, no, you need to tell us now. Well, we need an answer now. And he just kept no, and it goes back and forth until, like you said, Ryan ends up killing Mallory by shoving her across the room and breaking her neck.
Mm-hmm. And this moment is very pivotal. I mean, one, we lose a great character, and Robin's performance throughout the years has been great with, especially playing off Urban. We lose the character, but that's the catalyst for Butcher finally caving in.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ryan leaves, because he's like, to put it in comics terms, he's like the Superboy Prime.
Yeah.
He has all the power in the world, but he doesn't have the maturity to handle it.
Yep.
Butcher has to make a choice here, and obviously with Mallory pushing him and knowing the time is not on his side, he finally gives in to the voice that's been in the back of his head.
The devil inside him.
Mm-hmm. And that's Joe Kessler, played by the one and only Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
So now Butcher's morals are gone, and it's literally, I'm going to take everybody out.
Because up to that point, he's held out hope, he being Butcher, has held out hope that Ryan is the savior. Like, Ryan is the one that can help us solve everything and take care of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's not there. Ryan doesn't want anything to do with the whole situation and siding with one side or the other. He just wants to be a kid and grow up. He just wants normal, childhood, teenage things.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's not there, Butcher, like you said, has realized, I don't have time. I can't wait around for this kid to swing back around and come to the conclusion I hope he comes to. I have to act.
Mm-hmm. And this is so pivotal because on the other side of the chessboard, if you will, Homelander makes the call too, that with everything caving in on him with Newman and the whole political atmosphere, and especially with President Singer, he knows his time is now limited too, as far as him staying out of the legal ramifications of his actions.
Right.
The public persona is now swaying a bit, and he wants to accelerate his plans of becoming a dictator. Let's be honest.
That's what it is. And we got to keep in mind, this is all taking place on the day Congress is certifying the election. Mm-hmm. That's going on in the background. It's shown on a couple of quick glances on the television screen that the senators are and congressmen are in Washington certifying the election that, Singer did win the presidency. So for Homelander to achieve his end goal, we're approaching the 11th hour here.
Yeah. So when this is all going down, Homelander just makes the call. Anybody that knows anything about us here at Vought, kill him.
And he has a list.
Yeah. He has a hit list, and you see the remaining members of the 7. Because let's face it, Sage is gone at this point. There's only Firecracker,
Deep, and Noir.
Yep. They start going out and literally following Homelander's orders, taking out everybody. And one in particular is Ashley Barrett, who's played by Colby Minifie, who catches wind of this premeditated attack and does something very dangerous in her own right. And Pad, what is that?
Injects herself with Compound V.
Yep.
And no, we don't see what happens to her by the end of this episode.
Right. We just see her, what looks like she's starting to mutate. To what we don't know.
All we know is she's losing her hair.
Yep.
About all we know.
And she knows that obviously she has to do something to defend herself against the 7 who are running crazy in Vought, taking out anybody that's even remotely connected.
Because at this point, the only person within reaching distance, that would give her the time of day or be on her side is A-Train, and he's gone.
Yeah. So this now becomes a plot thread for next season.
Yep.
Because we don't know who's going to find Ashley first of the 7 and how that's going to all factor in.
Mm-hmm.
So the story then shifts back to Frenchie, who's been developing the virus. And since he has it all set, the boys are keeping an eye on President Singer in an underground bunker.
And this is after Homelander went on, was it Firecrackers TV show?
Yep.
It was when Homelander went on Firecrackers TV show, went to do a joint interview with Vice President-elect Newman.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, Homelander was at his breaking point or reached his wit's end and just decided, you know what, why don't we accelerate things? Hey, by the way, Victoria Newman's a soup.
Yeah.
It has been her entire life. Unveils the whole thing. That scares the absolute shit out of the President-elect Singer, which is at that point the boys put him into hiding.
Yeah, things are moving so fast here.
Yep.
Because Homelander, and in this scene too for Anthony Starr, you just see the final breaking.
Yeah,
happening.
like all of the audio goes away. There's just that high-pitched ringing going on in the background. The voices are there, but they're really muffled that you can just tell. Like, I think his eye twitches a couple times at one point. You can just tell he's done with this.
It's fantastic. It's such a great scene, and seeing how Newman is playing off this. I mean, Claudia Dumont, who plays Victoria Newman, you really see her just like shocked. And now what do you do? Because with the public persona of her being a soup, that does change things.
Of course, yeah.
So the fact that now she's been exposed, Singer has to kind of come to terms with this revelation and the connection with Homelander, and that spirals into so much. And all the while, the boys know that there is a shape-shifting assassin that's lurking around. And we do know that the shifter is now looking like Annie, a.k.a. Starlight.
Yep.
And Huey picks up on it because of a comment she says.
Well, and this is after they've had a little bit of a tryst, would you say, back at their apartment.
Very fair.
They have a little bit of coitus, if you will. They end up at the bunker with the president-elect and the rest of the boys, and they're just hanging out. Things are going well. And air quote, fake Annie makes it kind of like, oh, it's really hot in here. I'm really hot in here. Like she says it 2 or 3 times. And it's to the point where Huey's like, what is she talking about? He's like, it's not that bad in here. And he's like, oh, maybe you should go get a drink. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, and she looks at him and they look at each other and she says, do you need one? And at that point, the camera zooms in on fake Annie's eyes. And the thing to note with the shapeshifters, they don't have 1 set of eyelids. They have 2.
Yep.
And he sees the second set of eyelids go off and he goes, and that's when it clicks in his head. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's the shapeshifter. So he figured it. So the fake Annie, the shapeshifter goes off to get her a drink of water or whatever it is. And in the meantime, Huey goes up to Mother's Milk and goes, don't look at Annie. Just look ahead. The shapeshifter's in the room with us.
Yeah.
And Mother's Milk is like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Jack Quaid and Laz Alonso nailed this scene,
Oh,
too.
they're so good.
Yeah, their comedic timing here was great. So as we see Aaron Moriarty's shapeshifter version come back, they have to make the decision, and it gets kind of tipped off that they know what's going on, and this is when the fight breaks out. And this is where the real Annie has escaped from her prison and somehow finds them at the bunker. I know the plot hole I was kind of questioning is like, how did she find them?
That's a good point, yeah.
But, I'll just chalk it up to what, Pad? Reasons.
Find My iPhone is also a thing.
Yeah. So we see that she shows up. There's a big fight between her and Kimiko.
Yep. Also, kudos to Aaron Moriarty for this entire fight sequence, especially when fake Annie was fighting real Annie. That was Aaron Moriarty for the whole thing. Like that wasn't
really
that wasn't like a stunt double. No, she filmed and had to learn both sides of the choreography for that fight scene.
That's insane.
So kudos to Aaron Moriarty for that.
Yeah, that was a very cool scene, and she finally gets the upper hand and chokes out the fake Annies.
Yep.
I don't know necessarily if they killed her or not.
For the intent and purpose of this episode, I think so.
I think so too.
Because she quit moving and didn't seem like there was any like life in those limbs.
So this is where the boys wind up getting Singer to a safe place, and then they meet up with Newman after the revelation happens. So while they're in the warehouse, well, it's kind of like the barn that Frenchie's been working on the virus.
Yep.
Butcher now shows up, and this is not the Butcher of old. He crashes the party.
And you can tell he's slightly different and not as haggard as he was even earlier in the episode.
Mm-hmm. So now, suddenly, in front of Newman, her daughter, who is a soup,
Yep.
the Secret Service,
Yep.
he winds up unleashing his tentacles.
Yep.
So it almost reminded me of the Kraken from Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you see that get unleashed, and he winds up literally ripping Newman in half,
Uh-huh.
which I was stunned at this revelation because he winds up kind of keeping everybody at bay.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to talk sense into him, but the switch is flipped.
Right. Well, and this, as you alluded to, when he shows up in the room, Huey's already come up with a plan with Newman because Newman's finally woken up to the realization of what's going to happen despite Huey for 3 episodes now.
Yeah.
Trying to tell her, like, hey, this is bad. Like, here's what's going to happen. You need to not be on the wrong side of this. Be on the right side of this. In 2 episodes, she's like, no, it's fine. And then she finally saw the light and went, oh, my God, I can't be a part of this. I know. And then, so they come up with a plan on how things are going to work up with. And then Butcher shows up and Huey goes, hey, great, you're here. We got a plan. Here's how we're going to do this. And Butcher almost looks at him with disgust.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing? Like, why? She's a soup. Why are you making a deal with a soup? He doesn't say it, but you can read it in his eyes. And then, like you said, kills her.
Yeah, right in front of her kid and everybody in the room.
The Secret Service tries putting in a few bullets in him.
Yeah.
Doesn't work quite well.
So he winds up shaking down Frenchie to get the virus and leaves.
Yep.
So
all the meanwhile, I think at this point the president escapes.
Yeah, Singer escapes. And Homelander is now completely depressed because his whole plan has now gone up in smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Once Singer hits office, it's over. So he's dejected in his suite at Vaughn Enterprises.
Mm-hmm. And the TV's destroyed, by the way.
Yeah, the whole room is destroyed.
Yeah,
because he's lost it.
Yep.
And then suddenly we see the return of Sage,
who
was fired.
Yep.
And Pad, what has she done?
She's saying, "Hey, congratulations, we won." And he goes, "What do you mean we won? Like Singer's about to be elected." And she goes, "No, he's not." She turns on the television. And that's when a piece of footage that was filmed while the boys were in the bunker with President Singer, where he says, "Oh, you should have killed her you should have killed Victoria Newman at the start, like I told you to."
Mm-hmm.
It's being reported on the news that Victoria Newman is now dead. And with that footage now being public, President-elect Singer is being blamed for the death. He's taken into custody. And because of the line of succession that the United States Constitution has set up, president, okay, he's getting arrested, so he's out. The vice president is dead, okay, so can't, really go to that person. After that, it's the Speaker of the House. So at that point, it's the Speaker of the House, Stephen Calhoun, is going to be the new president of the United States. And Sage basically said to him, like, hey, congratulations, you won. Here's what's going on. Newman's dead. Singer's getting arrested. Steve Calhoun's going to be the new president, and he's very much in the camp of the soups. Like, he will do whatever we tell him to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and she does the mug. Oh, hello, President Calhoun. Would you like to talk to Homeland? Oh, here you go. And it all comes true.
Yeah, that her idea.
It's what she had planned from the start.
Yep.
She didn't tell him everything because she knew he'd screw it up. And sure enough, he screwed up the parts she knew he would.
Mm-hmm. It's a crazy scene, but how Susan Hayward pulls this off is awesome.
It's really a great twist.
Yeah, because she just sits there just stone-faced, and she's like, I told you I had your back.
Yeah.
I told you I was with you.
Yeah.
Even when you doubted me, this is me proving my loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
So all the while, to the sounds of Nirvana's harp-shaped box.
Yeah.
Things start going downhill quick.
Real quick.
We have Calhoun getting sworn in.
Yep.
And then Homelander jumps in front of him at the press conference.
Well, he gets sworn in, and then as he addresses the nation, he declares martial law.
Yeah.
And he says, and he deputizes Homelander and all of the soups to help safeguard the country.
Yeah. So now they have authority to do whatever they want. And this is nothing but bad news for the boys.
Because they realize we're public enemy number one. They don't like us. There's now nothing stopping them from coming after us because they don't work with the government. They are the government.
Exactly.
And they realize, all right, hey, time to go.
And we see Mother's Milk get arrested at an airport.
Yep.
In the bathroom of all places, too.
Yep.
So troops take him there. We see Kimiko and Frenchie who finally get together after 4 years.
Yep.
Well, that love affair is gone. Frenchie is taken out.
Kimiko speaks, too.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I didn't see that coming.
I did not see that
well,
either.
As Frenchie is getting arrested and hauled off into the van or whatever it is, she's like opening her mouth and clearly supposed to be yelling no or some form of anguish or agony. And then you actually start to hear her.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
It's insane. It's absolutely wild to see. But we see that take place.
Yep.
Then we see Annie and Huey, who are
they get a boat dropped in front of them
by an old enemy of theirs too. That comes there, and at this point, Huey is taken and he's screaming at Annie to run. And Annie does escape.
Well, she puts up a little bit of a fight, but then she realizes I'm outmatched. I need to leave.
Well, her powers were siphoned off by the shapeshifter a little bit, so they have not come back fully until this moment.
Right.
And then she is gone.
Right.
So the boys have been captured, and then they leave with the parting shot of Butcher driving in his car with a menacing look on his face with the virus in hand and a sniper rifle.
Yep.
And literally that's how it ends, except for the bonus scene, which I thought was very interesting.
I thought it was very telling. Yeah.
Because, Pad, what do we see here?
We see President Calhoun showing Homelander just exactly where Soldier Boy is being held captive on ice, as it were.
Yeah. And that's how it wraps up.
Yep.
So, overall, Pad, I think there was a lot that happened here, a lot of good things.
Yes.
So let's talk about it. What stood out to you for this episode?
I thought the good stuff was the machinations and the behind-the-scenes plot moving. The moving chess pieces into getting him into power. Seeing Homelander, despite thinking his plans had failed, seeing it finally, his goals finally achieved was nuts. I did not see the end coming where they would all get arrested. I thought that was good. I figured, they're going to get off scot-free. They're going to go to the four corners, and then time will have passed, and they're going to realize, all right, hey, there's something going on. We need to come together, and we need to unite to really finally take this down. But that's what stood out for me.
Yeah, I think everything really tied up nicely here. I think the boys were on the verge of having victory, and to have it swiped away.
Yeah.
Was absolutely perfect. It's what needs to happen in every great superhero story.
Yeah.
And I think the performances from Carl Urban and Anthony Starr once again stood out. I think they really did good.
Yeah.
I thought that Jack Quaid had some very good scenes with Aaron Moriarty, especially after the revelation of you were with a shapeshifter.
And they proposed, and she proposed to him. Mm-hmm. And she said yes.
Yeah. So how?
Or was the other way around? I can't remember.
No, Jack said yes because she proposed to him.
Yep, that's what it is. And the actual Starlight was less than thrilled.
Yeah, she was not happy about that. So that'll be a side plot, I think, going in the next season as well. But it all goes back to how Homelander has finally won.
Yep.
For now, except it's now Butcher versus the world.
Yep.
And can he overcome everybody? Now, if you know the comics, you have a tendency to have an idea how things are leaning in the direction.
I got a hunch I know how next season's going to open. So there's that famous image from The Boys where it's Homelander and all of the soups over top of the White House.
Yep.
I think that's how it opens.
I wouldn't doubt it. I agree with you. I think that is how it's going to open.
I wouldn't doubt there's that like balcony on the White House. I wouldn't doubt it's Homelander standing there, hands behind his back, with like some ominous music playing in the background or whatever it is, or some song they choose for the moment. And just as the camera zooms out and pans up, that's when you see the top of the White House, with the Secret Service soldiers or whoever it is on the top with the sniper rifles, the flag flying in the background, and then all of the soups who can fly patrolling in the sky above them. Mm-hmm. I think that's how it's going to open.
I fully agree with you on that. I think they're going to set it up nicely for that. And then the stuff's going to really hit the fan. And it will be a nice wait to kind of let this digest. Yeah. I think with everything that's coming out with other streaming services, I think the boys hit the mark getting in right before San Diego Comic-Con.
Right.
So they'll have the panel there. They're going to kind of recap the season that was.
Yep.
And then it's a little time off. Yeah. And then they come back strong in a year. So 2026 will be very, very fun.
Yeah.
And fans get the chance to really enjoy this, which I think is something that if you can binge watch this and really see the progression, like once you get to that moment.
Well, and you've got enough time between now and season 5.
Yeah.
You can do it. You don't even have to go crazy fast.
Or even better yet, everybody should read the comics.
That's true.
And make that comparison. And if you think The Boys is outrageous, read the comics. They take it up so many different notches. It's ridiculous. But overall, season was very solid. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I am very, very excited to see where they're going for next season.
Just hate that we got to wait 2 years, but I get it.
I fully get it. But we give you our thoughts about this. Hit us up on that hashtag and let us know your thoughts, ODPH Society. What is your take about the season 4 finale of The Boys, and where do you think everything's heading towards season 5? Let's discuss, but first we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The content you are listening to is part of the Nerd Initiative Podcast Network. For more info about the home of pop culture positivity, check out nerdinitiative.com.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and we have to recap a brewing battle for the Iron Throne. Because right now in the world of Game of Thrones prequel, things are getting a little crazy.
Yeah, they are getting a little crispy.
Yeah. Pat, what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about episode 6 for season 2 of House of the Dragon.
Yes, the Game of Thrones prequel has definitely started heating up for a very big battle.
Oh, boy.
And if you are a loyal watcher of the Game of Thrones series, you know when we get to the penultimate episode, that's usually where the stuff hits the fan. We're one episode away, so this episode had a lot of build that I believe is going to be paying off when we get there. But much like the first segment, we're going to give you our spoiler-free statement, countdown, and spoiler talk. So, Pat, that being said, let's talk about the HBO Max show.
Good episode. Thought it was definitely a solid one. Not the best one they've ever done, but I did enjoy it. A lot of interesting stuff with this, and the ending. Ooh, who knows where the hell they're going to go from here.
Yeah, the ending definitely had a lot of possible ramifications moving forward. But it all goes back to the build for the big battle between House Hightower, as I call it, and House Targaryen. Because we are now moving closer and closer to an epic battle, which I believe we're going to get next week.
Probably.
But we have a lot of build, and that's the thing about this episode that we've talked about in past too. There are certain episodes of House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones that are, filler is not the right word.
Right.
But it's a lot of story building.
Yep.
That's what you had with this episode too. So if you love that kind of episode, you're going to really dig this. If you don't, this might not be one of your favorite episodes. But I thought that where we went with the ending, things really picked up.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where we're going for next week, more so because of the penultimate. So let's really talk about it. Shelby, in 3, 2, 1, what you think?
Thought it was a good episode. A lot of building, a lot of interest with this, a lot of intrigue, a lot of machinations and behind the scenes stuff, which I always dig. And like I said, that ending, deliberate cliffhanger. Who the heck is that person on the dragon? Who the hell knows? But we're gonna find out.
I agree. I think the battle to find, or I should say, the quest to find the heir for a dragon really picked up in the fact that somebody has now become a dragon rider.
Yep.
I mean, that is a game changer in the world of Game of Thrones.
They're going to be a highly sought after free agent.
So we do open up this episode with, like I say, there's just so much build in. I'm just going to kind of get into that.
Yep.
Jason Lannister.
Saw the flag and went, fuck, Lannisters are here.
But they always keep, their word.
Yeah, they do.
Allegedly. So we do see that Jason Lannister pays his debt and leads his army to the Golden Tooth. And he has his vassal, Humphrey.
His young ward, I guess you could say.
Vassal is the word I heard thrown around. But yes,
Yep.
We do see his young sidekick trying to hook up a meeting between Aemond and Jason. So this does not go as well as planned.
Because this isn't at King's Landing. This is at Golden Tooth, where the Lannister forces are, and the Lannisters, being the Lannisters, are like, you're coming to us.
Yeah.
And Aemond politely says, no.
Well, Aemond has now taken down the king.
Yep.
So he is kind of calling some shots here. And what can you say about Ewan Mitchell? Like, really stepping up in the role.
Phenomenal job.
Yeah, really making you love to hate him.
Yep.
And that's something, if you can do it as a Game of Thrones villain, you're doing great jobs. So he wants Thailand Lannister to work with him. So they want to really kind of start making some moves. He's giving some orders to his right-hand man, the most underqualified person for the job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But how he is lucked into this world, I have no idea. And that's Sir Christian Cole, played by Fabian Frankel. So we see Aemond is basically barking orders, and Sir Christian is more than happy to oblige because, well, let's face it, he has no other choice because he's now worked himself up into a position he has no right to be in, being hand of the king.
He's lied on his resume, and he's gotten the position.
So he decides to say, you have to go dismiss Queen Alicent. And that is obviously a little conflict of interest per se due to their
relations.
Yeah, relations. So the order is given.
Reluctantly.
Yeah.
He's not happy about it.
No, he's not.
But again, it's coming from the king. Can't exactly tell him no.
No. All the while, House Targaryen is trying to make some moves, and especially Queen Rhaenyra.
They're down bad.
Yeah.
They need forces. Daemon ain't coming through anytime soon. He's not doing like Aragorn and the Two Towers, magnificently coming through those double doors at the moment's notice, going, oh my God, thank God you're here.
Yeah.
He ain't doing that.
No, so the queen has taken
an idea from her son.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm trying to comprehend,
I get the idea. It's still a little foolhardy.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's especially with her having a council. I mean, granted, she just did lose an advisor.
Yeah.
But still,
this
is wishful thinking at the definition.
It's desperate, too.
Yeah, because what the queen is trying to do is find somebody that's a long-lost relative that possibly has Targaryen genetics to now be able to take care of the lone dragon, Sea Smoke.
Yep.
And she does find somebody, Sir Stefan Darklin.
In her words, the most likely candidate or whatever, out of the percent, if there's a percentage of most likely to do that to least likely, he is the highest percentage to yes, this should work for him.
Yeah. So the queen talks him into trying this.
We're going to talk about a serpent's tongue. Good Lord.
Yeah.
If I'm walking in the room, and I don't care who I'm talking to, and they're like, hey, we know we're long-lost cousins. We've had a lot of good years together. Family's done a lot for each other. We need you to do a favor. We need you to go down into the crypt here, or whatever the hell they call that room. And we need you to go stand in front of a dragon. By the way, it's 4 times the size of you.
Yeah.
Can breathe molten fire that can singe your skin off at a moment's notice. And we need you to just stand in front of it and try and tame it, and then you can ride it. Respectfully, no. If it were me. So the fact that they talk him into this for the honor and glory it would bring his household is astonishing.
Well, it's the one thing that Emma Darcy's performance really conveyed.
Yeah.
And their performance is just fantastic about this, too, because you really are sold that, yes, you, unknown relative, are the one.
Yep.
And how it is presented, I could understand how the unlikely candidate is swayed.
Sure. I mean, then again, you think about it. It's like if your favorite sports team came up to you and said, hey, we need you to score the crucial point in a championship game. Who's really going to say no?
Yeah. So Stefan tries to tame the dragon.
Almost works.
That's
what it looked like.
And then it goes literally up in smoke.
South very quickly.
So back to the drawing board for House Targaryen.
Well, and even some of the other folks there, this is why we brought this up, say, oh, well, we'll just get somebody else. And Rhaenyra's like, no, we can't. He was the best possible candidate.
Yeah.
There's nobody else better.
So there's a little question mark now of what the house is going to do because they need forces and they need forces bad. Because their strongest combatant, if you will, Damien, played by the one and only Matt Smith, has lost his mind.
Big time.
He's going crazy.
Dude is down bad.
Dreaming about family members lost, past lives. It's just, he is just he's crazy now.
Relations with folks.
Yeah, he might be the true Mad King.
In theory, he could be, but in actuality, no.
Yeah,
but he's lost his marbles.
He's gone crazy. So he is undisposed. He did not get a lot of screen time this episode, which is okay. But I think because he's going to make a impact nevertheless when the big battle goes down.
Yep, because I got the feeling next episode he's going to do something real rash and stupid.
Mm-hmm. He's due for it.
Yeah.
And we're all here for it as well. So the story then shifts back to Aemon, who's more or less tormenting his little brother, who is king. And
really, really twisting the knife in the side, if you will.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
And also covering his ass. Because he goes up to him, and what's the first thing he says to him after he's awake? Not, how are you? Do you need anything? Should I send for anything? No, it's, how much do you remember?
Yeah.
And he says, well, until I woke up, nothing. And you can just see the weight getting lifted off of Aemon's shoulders like, oh, shit, thank God. Which to me confirms he was going for both.
Oh, yeah.
And he missed.
Yeah.
Because how did he miss? Well, he's still alive.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. He went for both. There was there's no question in my mind he went for both. The quest for power will drive people to do that.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Aemon has been a very slimy character since his inception. So
what's that saying about absolute power corrupting and all that? Yeah.
Yeah. Facts. All facts. So the fact that has been dealt with, huge relief.
Yep.
And then
I thought he was going to kill him in that scene, but then somebody walked in the room, and I'm like, guess we're holding off.
Yeah.
Because it would have been real easy to do given his injuries. You're like, oh, hey, whoops, he succumbed to his injuries. Sorry. But no, I got found out before that potentially could have happened.
Mm-hmm. So they're dealing with that. And then we kind of see there's also a little other side storyline going on. Because who do we see getting involved now with Sea Smoke?
Well, at some point along the line here, Sea Smoke flies the coop.
Yeah.
He's gone. All the powers that be are like, shit, this isn't good. What are we going to do? But then we see Sea Smoke flying off and flying through the countryside. And he is in the middle of chasing Adam, who is one of the kids of Corlys.
Yeah. So
why he's after him? I
don't know, but that's a new player that's now entered the mix. So we're now starting to see more houses come involved, more characters getting involved. Like I say, they're really trying to build up for a big battle. Would you not agree?
Agreed, 100%.
So that is now coming to, in fruition here. Like we're now seeing possible new allies coming into the mix. And then things really start shifting to more or less underlying theme of the show too is the different class systems.
Yeah.
And the royalty versus the peasants, if you will.
Common folk.
The common folks. And we do see that some food boats arrive at King's Landing. And who is responsible for this, Pat?
Rhaenyra.
Yes.
Because they get information from inside King's Landing about just how bad things are. And they basically tell Rhaenyra, hey, listen, wouldn't take real much to get them on your side right now. And she does say, put operation, or there's a name she calls for this plan.
Yeah, she has a specific name.
It's like Operation Overlord, D-Day in Normandy. There's like a name for this. I forget what it is.
Operation Morbius.
It's Morbin time.
Yep.
But no, she says, I'll put this plan into action. And what she does is she gets food into the countryside, because that's one thing that's been an ongoing theme in the background of this episode is because of the blockade surrounding King's Landing, people are starving. There was a scene, I think at the start of the episode or towards the start of the episode, where there was one person basically in a soup line looking to get food, and it ran out before she could get there. And they're like, oh, sorry, this is all we got. So Rhaenyra sends the food in, and everyone's super happy. All hail Queen Rhaenyra. And that thrills the King's Guard and everybody else that's on the side of Aemond, or whoever the hell's running the show these days, to no end.
Oh, of course. They're mad because it's a public outrage.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because now their kingdom is swaying towards Queen Rhaenyra.
They dragged the dragon's head through the streets, literally, and they said, look at what happened to the king, to this dragon who's, a traitor. Don't follow these people. Oh, don't believe these people. They're traitors. The instant they saw food, yeah, we like them.
Yeah. And this causes a riot.
Yep.
And Queen Alicent is caught in the middle with Helena.
Because they decide to go out in public.
Yeah, well, they were like trying to see what was all the commotion, and sure enough, they get caught into it, and obviously the citizens of the kingdom are not exactly too happy with the royalty.
They're outnumbered. What would you say, like 10 to 1?
Oh, easily.
11 to 1?
Easily.
So the King's Guard, or the dudes with swords, start pulling out said swords and want to hey, we're going to fight off these people just to protect who we're supposed to protect. But Allison goes, no. Don't use your swords.
Yeah.
Listen, I get you don't want to put out the public perception that you're killing your subjects, but time and place. Like, you got to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it.
So they have to make the crazy escape.
Yeah.
And somehow pull it off, even though they do lose some of their guardsmen in the process.
Yep.
So House Hightower will not be exactly handling this well.
Mm-hmm.
All the while, we end with Mauricia
Mm-hmm.
catching up with Rhaenyra.
Yep.
And how would you describe the scene, Pat?
Steamy. Also, from what we learned in the time since the episode aired, part of this was unplanned.
Yeah.
Was not in the script.
Yeah, it was ad-libbed.
Yeah, it was.
So Marissa is confiding in Rhaenyra about her past with her father and how that is not...
It's not exactly a good one.
Yeah, to put it mildly. And then she also starts talking about why she has remained loyal to Rhaenyra this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wind up actually having a passionate kiss.
Yeah, they do.
And they're interrupted
Yep.
by news that Seasmoke has now have a new writer.
Yep.
Which Rhaenyra immediately takes off
She's like, wait, what?
to go find out.
Free agent. Need to get him on our side.
Yeah. So that's how it literally wraps up.
What are you thinking? 5-year Supermax contract?
You have to. I think somebody just became the biggest free agent of all.
All of Westeros.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the kingdoms now have a new major player involved because if a dragon is involved,
LeBron James.
somebody has to go there.
LeBron James.
So overall, though, very strong episode.
Yeah.
In the sense of building for more.
Yeah, like, the whole time this season has gone on, it's just been powder keg after powder keg after powder keg. We got a lot of powder kegs, and they're all lit.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are dead. Family members and cousins and aunts and uncles are dead. You've got, Hatfield McCoy's going on.
Yeah.
With one side ready to fight the other because somebody moved a stone on the border. It's all going to kick off next episode. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane. But, I mean, very powerful and emotional ending, too. Mm-hmm. Like we say, with Mauricia's her story of the unfortunate incidents that would happen with her. And then how that spirals now into with her and Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Finally connecting on that level.
Like we said, unplanned.
Unplanned.
But very effective and powerful.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. It definitely leads for another story that's going to be happening at some point. And to see that Rhaenyra now has to leave the kingdom, even though everybody's tried keeping her there.
They've tried telling her for like the last 4 episodes, you can't go. Yeah. It's a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Well, we're about to find out.
We're about to find out what's going to happen. But overall, finished very, very strong.
Yeah.
And did what it needed to do to build for the penultimate.
Yep.
That's the key takeaway here. So that being said, hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about Small Folk? Episode 6 of Season 2 of HBO's House of the Dragon. Let's talk about it, shall we? But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Do you like comic books?
What about movies and TV shows?
Well, we may be the show for you.
We're Hops Geek News, a weekly podcast that discusses comics, movies, and TV shows while featuring a beer of the week.
Every week, we chat about what we messed up on the week before, and then we dive into what we're reading and watching, as well as some news.
We then wrap it up with a geek-themed topic of the week.
You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts by searching Hops Geek News.
Cheers.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder, and you better listen to the ODPH podcast, or I'm coming for you, and Batman is coming for you.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got a couple things to talk about. The first of which is some news that a little surprising, also a little not surprising, and that is that the TV show Halo was canceled at Paramount Plus after 2 seasons.
Okay.
Reading from an article on Variety.com, it says, quote, the big budget series based on the popular Xbox video game franchise aired 2 seasons at the streaming service. The show originally debuted in 2022, while the second season aired between February and March 2024. Quote, Paramount Plus can confirm that Halo will not move forward with a 3rd season on the service, the streamer said in a statement. We are extremely proud of this ambitious series and would like to thank our partners at Xbox, 343 Industries, and Amblin Television, along with showrunner and executive producer David Weiner, and his fellow executive producers, the entire cast led by Pablo Schreiber as Master Chief, and the amazing crew for all of their outstanding work. We wish everyone the best going forward, close quote. The article goes on to say, according to an individual with the knowledge of the situation, Xbox, Amblin TV, and 343 Industries will try to shop the series to other outlets. 343 Industries said, quote, we deeply appreciate the millions of fans who propelled the Halo series to be a global success, and we remain committed to broadening the Halo universe in different ways in the future. We are grateful to Amblin and Paramount for their partnership in bringing our expansive sci-fi universe to viewers around the world, close quote. So, not entirely a surprise. I know first season, very divisive, very controversial in that it really didn't follow the video game series in any way, shape, or form other than, hey, here's some characters you know. I heard season 2 was a little bit better. I personally hadn't seen season 2 or anything past episode 1 of season 1. Well, admittedly, I haven't played the Xbox or the Halo games. I am familiar. I've read the books. I've watched some gameplays of them online. I know enough to get by. I did not like what I saw in episode 1, and I really soured me off of it. So to see it canceled after 2 seasons, not totally a surprise.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I was not a fan of this adaptation. I don't think it won me over. It just, for some reason, it just didn't click about the story of Master Chief and what they're trying to do. And it's, this is sometimes this happens. I mean, video game adaptations to the big or small screen is a risky gamble.
You have to, at least on some level, follow the source material.
Yeah.
This did not.
No, this definitely didn't. So once you start straying into your own lane, it's very tough to win over an audience, let alone one that is so beloved of the character in the story behind it.
Been going for over 20 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Like I say, when the character is that beloved, you can't mess with it.
Yeah.
And the fact they tried, I mean, E for effort, but
I
mean, the writing was on the wall.
Yep. Then some composing news, because, hey, I think this is kind of interesting. The Newton brothers, who of course most recently did work for the X-Men 97 television series, working with Marvel again. They're going to be scoring the Disney Plus series Daredevil Born Again. This according to filmmusicreporter.com. It says, quote, the Newton brothers, Dr. Sleep, The Haunting of Hill House, The Fall of the House of Usher, Five Nights at Freddy's, The Forever Purge, are currently scoring Marvel Studios' upcoming Disney Plus original series, Daredevil Born Again. The show, based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, stars Charlie Cox as Daredevil / Matt Murdock, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin / Wilson Fisk, John Bernthal as the Punisher, as well as Deborah Ann Wool, Michael Gandolfini, Margarita Lavia, Ganea Walton, Eldon Henson, and Wilson Bethel. Dario Scarpiti serves as the project's showrunner, and Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are the lead directors. So a little bit of interesting, cool news. I certainly dug the X-Men 97 score for those, and I thought they did a good job. So hearing they're going to score the soundtrack for Daredevil Born Again, it's a win in my book.
Everything I've heard so far, I really enjoyed about the premise for the show, and obviously it has high expectations to live up to. I'm agreeing with you about the score. I think that's gonna be great.
Yeah,
I just want to see the show already. Like I'm at that level.
I agree.
So
could be this weekend we hear something.
Fingers crossed.
Then we got a whole host of trailers to talk about. The first of which we got a full trailer for Joker: Foil Ado. Of course, this is the sequel to the film Joaquin Phoenix won an Academy Award for. And this trailer, I gotta admit, this looks really good. There's something about this. I think it's gonna be great.
I'm still on the fence. Okay. I got, I say, we here at the ODPH, we can agree to disagree.
Sure.
There's something about this that, one, I didn't want a sequel after the first one was done.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, and maybe it's like, now, how is knowing the universe Joaquin Phoenix set up?
Sure.
How does this play out knowing the history of Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga?
Sure.
I guess I have very mixed emotions as a comic fan reading, watching this.
Sure.
Because it's it looks very interesting and it has the same vibe as the first film.
No, it does.
So now, granted, if you've seen the first film, it is an intense watch.
Yeah,
I think we both have agreed on it. We reviewed it here on the show when it came out.
I think we both saw it once in the theaters. We have not seen it since. That's not through any like or dislike of the film.
Right.
It's just a film that we don't necessarily feel we need to revisit.
Yeah, I don't need to go back down this road. And that's kind of where I still am with this. Like when I see it,
Sure.
it looks interesting. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It looks interesting.
Sure.
But knowing where that first film went,
Yeah.
I have a tough time like getting excited to see this. Now, granted, I think the trailer looks very good for being a movie trailer.
Yeah.
But to move the needle for me, I don't know. Like I will probably end up seeing this.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like, it's one, you can hear the tone of my voice. I'm not amped up to see.
Right. No, like I'm intrigued by it. You know, there's just something about it. I don't know what it is, but I saw this and I'm like, this looks really freaking good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. And I now understand. There was a quote a couple weeks ago where the casting director revealed that Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn wasn't the casting director's idea. It was the director, Todd Phillips' idea. I now see kind of where that went. I'm like, all right, she is a really, at least on the surface, when I first heard Harley Quinn was going to play, or Lady Gaga was going to play Harley Quinn, I went, really? I'm like, I don't know if I see that. For this universe and what it is, makes sense.
Yeah, she
does a very good job.
I agree. I have no faults with what I've seen of her performance thus far, except where does that factor in with the origin? But
sure.
Then again, I am somebody that likes to stick to the comics. I have very strong feelings about the whole Harley and Joker thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know, I guess I'm a little biased by it, but I'm not. If you love it, like, that's cool.
Sure.
But me, I'm just like,
sure.
It's bringing up a lot of old emotions after seeing that first one. So,
then we got a trailer for the upcoming final season of Superman and Lois, season 4. As we all figured, or as I'm sure we probably could have guessed based on the way the last season ended with the fight with Doomsday, Superman's dead. Superman ain't around no more. The world's gonna have to come to grips with that. Except for Lex, he's throwing a party probably. And this season gonna be real nuts. I think, what is it supposed to be? It's only like 10 episodes or so.
It's a very short season.
Very short season. So no room for filler, no room for fluff. It's gonna be awesome though.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them go out on a strong note. I think that how the show is progressing. I mean, this makes sense to end it here.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see it go more, and obviously we know with the James Gunn film coming out, that's going to be the Superman everybody's going to talk about. But for what this show did,
it was a really good in-bit fill-in.
Yeah, it captured the essence. It got me excited to be a Superman fan, and you know that's something it needs to do. And how this is going to end up, I can imagine they're going to pull out all the stops.
Not going to have to wait super long because, as the trailer revealed, there will be a 2-hour premiere on Thursday, October 17th, and. Reading in the description on the CW Network's YouTube video for this, quote, more to be revealed at Comic-Con this Saturday in Hall H.
Ooh, that's right. They are doing a panel at Hall H.
At 11:15 a.m. I'm guessing that's Pacific time.
Yes.
So definitely keep an eye out for that. Then we get a trailer for the upcoming show that I honestly, when this trailer dropped, I forgot this was coming and I thought they had already done another movie. And then I'm like, oh, wait, this is for the show they're doing. Trailer for Dune Prophecy dropped, which is set, I believe it's going to be like 1,000 years before the events of the Denis Villeneuve films. I got to admit, for what it is, trailer looks good. Not a whole lot to go on. Not really sure what the hell exactly is going on, but it looks interesting. If you're a fan of the Dune movies, it seems like you might be into this. So we'll see how it goes. No real release date on this, when this is coming, just that it's coming sometime.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it. You know, I'm not the biggest Dune fan.
Sure.
I know that's probably making a lot of people go,
what?
Yeah. But,
yeah.
You know, like I say, if you like that universe, it does look cool.
Yep. And then lastly, certainly not leastly, we got a trailer for the upcoming Dragon Ball series, Daima. This, of course, is presumably the last thing the series creator Akira Toriyama worked on. I say presumably because I know the Dragon Ball Super manga is on hiatus at the moment. And I'm guessing that, and kind of going off of the belief that it's on hiatus because of what happened with the creator, but I don't know where things were in the production with that, whether he had worked on anything else or he was just taking a little bit of a break to work on Daima. So for the immediate time, this is the last thing that Akira Toriyama worked on for the Dragon Ball franchise. We did get a release window, I guess you could say, of October 2024. So coming out sometime in October, but looks interesting. A little bit, not a whole lot revealed. We know that the main characters and heroes getting de-aged, turned into kids for whatever reason.
Yeah, it was kind of
something there. Mysterious figure. It was shown who he is, what his deal is. Well, we don't know, but we'll find out. Looks interesting, and I'll be watching.
Oh, yeah, no, this looked cool for DBZ.
Yeah.
Like I say, that looked very cool.
Yep.
Before we get into comics, there is a story that I have been waiting to run by Pat. I have not gotten the official Padawan J seal of approval, but from our fine friends at Marvel Comics, the story behind the legendary battle that bridges the Star Wars trilogy is finally being told.
Oh, interesting.
So, reading from the press release from Marvel, starting this October, Marvel's Star Wars comic book line depicts the legendary final battle of the Galactic Civil War. Written by Alex Segura, this new post-Return of the Jedi era begins in Star Wars Battle of Jakku,
Yep.
Insurgency Rising. So this is going to be taking place after the events of Star Wars 50 and Vader 50.
Okay.
So what is your feelings about this? Because this is supposed to bridge the gap between episode 6 and episode 7.
Right. I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see it. I mean, they kind of already delved into this a little bit. There was the novel or series that Chuck Wendig wrote with, I know the one specifically was Aftermath, Empire's End. That released on hardcover in February of 2017. And the reason I'm kind of wondering why they're doing it now is this would have been great if they did it right after Force Awakens came out, 2015. It's 2024, so we're hard to believe we're almost 10 years after Force Awakens released. God, time flies.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued and I'm going to read it, but I'm just kind of wondering, okay, why are we doing this now? Like, like with everything going on with Star Wars, with High Republic, the Skeleton Crew, whatever they decide to do with animation, because I get the feeling animation ain't going to be sitting on its laurels for too long. The video games. Like, why are we going to this now? I'm sure there's a reason, and I'm sure there's an explanation that we'll get, and we'll see once the series comes out. And I'm excited for it. I'm just kind of sitting there. I can't help but go, why?
I think it just my humble comic opinion. I think because we haven't had this happen in the comics before.
True.
And I think that coming off the heels of Charles Soule's epic run, if you really want to go somewhere, I think taking the break from the Skywalker universe in this era that he's currently writing and letting Segura run it in uncharted territory, I think is a smart play.
Yeah.
And I think that to give that little break, because you can always go back.
Oh, sure.
So I think to do the break, I think is a smart play just to see where the audience is. I don't know how it's going to go because as we saw with the Acolyte, the High Republic is a very unknown era.
Yeah.
And
there's also a lot of High Republic comics out these days.
Right, but that's what I say. The comics are really oversaturating with it, which is good because to get the audience caught up to speed with it, I think it's a smart move.
Right.
This is an unknown era. You have a free blueprint to do what you want. I think that's going to work out in dividends.
Could be.
So that's where I think they're going with that. But like we say, we'll have to see when it drops in October.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, it is a massive new comic book day heading into San Diego Comic-Con. What are you picking up this week?
Couple things. First of which is, both of these are from Marvel. First of which is Captain America, issue number 11 from J. Michael Straczynski. This reads, quote, Steve Rogers finds the last change agent, someone who can change the direction of the world forever by dying. And as Steve wrestles with the morality of his task, a member of his inner circle is moving to betray him. Plus, part 2 of Deadpool/Wolverine, Weapon Extraction. Definitely going to pick that one up. That one is going to be all sorts of awesome. Then the other one I got to pick up, it's one I reviewed this week. Star Wars Darth Vader, issue number 48 from Greg Pak. This one reads, Luke joins the dark side? It is said there can only be 2 Sith, the Emperor and Darth Vader. But could it someday be Palpatine and Luke Skywalker? Or Vader and his son, the handmaiden Sabe, finally tests Luke with Warba's life in the balance, and the Schism Imperial reveals its hidden hand. This issue's all sorts of fun, a lot of good stuff. More so, I would say, for the original trilogy fans than maybe if you're a newer Star Wars fan, you might not get into this all that much, but it's still a great read from Greg Pak and one you should absolutely pick up at the comic shops this week.
Great pick there. I mean, obviously heading into the final runs there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a little bittersweet moment, but I know the Star Wars books, everybody's raving about them. I'm getting into them now, kind of backtracking a little bit. But like I say, I have a lot on my plate for
You do.
for my list.
You do.
So this week, like I say, it is a massive list that kicks off, and let's kick off with obviously a book that is fitting of that title. It's one that we here at the ODPH have very sentimental feelings about. It's Supermassive
Yes.
2024. So our good friends over at Black Market Narrative, Kyle Higgins, Ryan Parrott, Matt Groom, Melissa Flores, and Joe Clark are bringing the united forces of the Massiverse together. And this time, though, it's in a little bit of a unique scenario. With the events that are happening in the Radiant Black Catalyst War, the other members of the Massiverse are now brought in. So Stefano Simone is on the art. Becca Carey is on the lettering. This book is awesome. This book lives up to the hype. And I say this is always very sentimental because our first comic interviews was with the team from the Massiverse. So we always have a very special place. At the ODPH for those fine people. So this one, though, I can't stress enough, it is amazing. And if you are thinking, well, I haven't really read the Catalyst War for whatever reason, I'm not going to judge you that much. You can jump into this a little cold. You will be lost maybe a little bit about why Radiant Black is acting how they are, but it will make sense with the story. But it's a fantastic book to pick up. Also, and this is a bittersweet one for me because I have really loved this series, we have come to the conclusion of No One. So this is another Black Market Narrative book in the Massiverse. Kyle Higgins, Brian Buccellato, and Geraldo Borges. Oh my God, Pat, this has been such an insane ride. And I love the shows like The Wire. This is like the comics version.
Oh, okay.
To a degree, and we finally get a very excellent conclusion to the Accountability Killer saga. No spoilers, even though the book is out right now. I really am insisting everybody go check this out. If you haven't read the series, you should go back. It's 10 issues. Number 10 does not miss, and I am very excited to hear the podcast. I believe there's an episode coming out for this to kind of epilogue everything because that's what they did. They did a companion podcast with Patton Oswalt and Rachel Lee Cook playing the title roles of the newspaper team covering the case. So, but it's an amazing series nevertheless. I could rave about it all day. And speaking of our friends over with Patton Oswalt and company, it has been reported via comicbook.com, Minor Threats, the series he writes with Jordan Bloom and Scott Hepburn, is now greenlit for a Netflix series.
Oh, okay.
So very
Nice.
excited to hear more about that. I know they have a panel at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm expecting we'll hear a lot of news coming from that. Very excited for that team. So, like I say, that's just some of the books right there. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 by Jason Aaron came out from IDW. Might be the book of the year from all the pre-orders and such that we're hearing. It's an excellent read. I did not get the chance to do a full review for it, but I have read it. It lives up to the hype. It's everything that we're expecting from Turtles, and Aaron's take on it is very, very cool. From our good friends over at Skybound Entertainment, we're going into the Energon universe with Void Rivals. So the sleeper hit of the Energon universe does not miss. Kind of accelerating some points, too. We're seeing a lot more Transformer influence come into the book now from a lot of familiar faces that are not on Earth. They're in deep space with the two title characters involved in this mess. Like I should say mess, but it's a very intertwined problem they're in. So, but a very fun read nevertheless. From DC Comics, Absolute Power Origins.
Ooh.
So this is written by Academy Award winner John Ridley. Althea Martinez is on the art. And this is the origin story of Amanda Waller.
Oh, boy.
So it's a fantastic read. And you really see how one event spirals into more and really starts shaping the person that is now responsible for the downfall of the heroes in the DC universe. It's a great read, first issue. I'm all in for this. It's 3 issues in series. And they came out swinging for the fences and knocked it out of the park with this one. So I absolutely love this issue. Definitely recommend everybody check it out. And the last one on my list this week is one of my favorites, Image Comics, Local Man. Tony Fleeks, Tim Seeley, and the story of Crossjack and the insanity that involves him and his fall from grace from being a superhero to everyday life is just spiraling more and more into insanity and humor. And the book is just amazing. So everybody really needs to go get the trade paperback for it. Obviously, it got nominated for the Eisner this year. So
Nice.
yeah, they're doing a lot of great things with this book. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we might be having one of those two gentlemen on the show to talk about it, because Tony has a lot of books out right now. I know Tim is very busy too, so I'm hoping we can talk to one of them on Turn a Page sooner than later. So
Maybe.
putting the karma out there. Like I say, there's so many great books this week. It's absolutely insane. Minor Threats, Fastest Way Down from Dark Horse 2, amazing book. If you want more reviews, nerdinitiative.com is the place you need to go. Over 30 reviews, if I'm doing my math right, dropped today.
Wow.
And it has been a loaded and busy comic book day. I think Comic Science Years put it best. This is the busiest and biggest day of the year. And I'm going to San Diego Comic-Con. I can't prove him wrong. I think he's right on the point with that. So if you want to find more about comics to pick up this week, nerdinitiative.com. And definitely remember to go hit up your local comic shops wherever you're at, because there's nothing like walking into a shop on New Comic Book Day. And if you're looking for San Diego Comic-Con information, well, we're going to be dropping the Turn a Page episode preview edition later this week on the ODPH podcast network, so you won't miss anything that's going on in the big events that's happening in San Diego. Pat, I know you didn't get a chance to make it for the show. What is your thoughts? What are you looking forward to? Anything jumping out at you?
Anything Marvel related. It's kind of quiet on what they're going to do and what's expected. I know we got a little bit of tease, a little bit of expectations, but I'm expecting dates. I'm expecting titles. I'm expecting casts to walk out, because Marvel don't come into Hall H to just read off a teleprompter.
Yeah,
they come in there to mic drop on everybody.
I said on the show when we recorded last night, I feel so bad for Kevin Smith because he's coming on after them.
Oh, no.
He's closing out Hall H.
Oh, no.
And I feel so bad because Marvel is gearing up, and you can tell they're loading up the deck.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. We speculated a lot about it, but we'll definitely be recapping San Diego Comic-Con next week. So that being said, that's all we got for entertainment this week. For anything and everything that is the ODPH, you can find it at odphpodcast.com. For the one and only Padawan J.
Thank you.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast. We'll see you next time.